Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing fine. Here is some sunshine for me. It's not even a sunny day, but I can get the idea of how the sunshine looks like after 1 month of constant gray and rain and wind and all that. Yeah, the November grind. Soon it will be December, a new year ahead. And lots of things going on, lots of changes, and everything is changed, whether we like it or not. The first one being aging, relationships, jobs, interests, all that kind of things are always changing. But there's something to us. There's always this foundation pulse of things we really enjoy, where we are in our own best. I was about to say happy, but in our own best, in our own most contented version of ourselves. Not even that is permanent, of course, but that's very important to get back to in some way. I've mentioned that before, that just think about what moments, places, times in your life were the best for you. What got you to those places and times and moments? What took you away from those times and moments? A list is underestimated. Writing is underestimated. So it's good to write down that and then set your goals and don't compromise. Because I think everywhere we look at that list, however it might look for you, it might look for me, there's always a kind of like a barter. You have to give away something to gain something. Like you give away your youth in a sense for a more mature kind of character. So everything is kind of like happening by itself, and change is always present. But over the last 2 years, as you probably know and are aware of things, big changes are ahead and coming. And that's good to know about it. But it's even more important to have some remedy, some solution for that in your own life. And since everything is kind of resetting, and resetting is sort of the main natural principle, like now, everything here will die out until spring. And in a more like pragmatic everyday life experience, for example, if you have a family, you might have a gray, rainy day and things are disorganized and, kind of like a chaotic day with the children and everything, and things needs to get done. But then after 1 day, 2 days, you've reset it. You're back at the kind of founding pulse of what makes life, family life, or whatever life one enjoys, there again. And that's very important, because the whole system is rigged to break us apart. That's a fact. I mean, I'm just looking at the wars and mobilization of people, and ever since I was a child I was fascinated by war. How people just go in there and fight for something, kill one another. And it's there for a reason, I mean, it's a ritualistic thing, the mass endings of human life, just as we end mass life in unnatural factories where animals are held and so on. So there's something very evil about it. And just think about the time it takes to give birth to children, to feed them, to nurture them, to educate them. And then suddenly, someone puts on a uniform and off you go. And that's it. That's the end of that story. And it's really horrible, I know people, who have lost people in war, and people are warring all the time. And after a war, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, things are kind of like they were before. It's like nothing happened. But the pain is there, you know? So the whole system is rigged, you know? And it will tighten its grip, that's for sure. We know that. That which kicked in over the last 2 years is really the pinnacle and the great start of that in this modern technological age. However, you know, it's up to us. It's good to know about things, but it's very important to keep ourselves in a good mood, in a good passion, and caring also. Caring about the people who are close to us, people who are also on a life journey, and, you know, knowing the things you know, trying to make the best of it. That's very important, because we can have that online, of course. Most people have it in one way or another. Some people watch maybe this video, some people watch other videos, and some people burn their time watching series which always have the same kind of you know, drama, the same ups and downs, the same storylines, just the milieu changes. Sometimes it's medieval, sometimes it's mafia, this and that. Just a repetition to keep people numbed down and give them a little bit excitement, because the human mind is like that. I mean, we are easily hypnotized. You can see that, for example, when children watch something, they might just stare and perhaps open up their mouth. It's a sign of kind of like a hypnosis, like being totally indulged in something. I mean, when you sit down and talk to somebody and have a great conversation, you don't just stare and open your mouth and look like when somebody is watching a series or something like that. But anyway, my point is, you know, technology is here. We are using it. We can use it for our benefit or for our passivity. It just depends. And I think most people, even coming to this, are pretty aware of that. Yeah, so the sunshine might happen today, or it might get swallowed up by clouds later on. I'm just enjoying being here near the water. It's so calm and nice. Could have gone for a bath, just a dip, but not today. So let's get up here on the path. So yeah, finding the root of our thing that drives us, which makes us content and happy, is very important, because most of the topics we are dealing with and get presented by are often huge stuff. Even this, like the world oppressive system and all that, the wars, it starts to affect that. It's good to be aware of it, but never focus is never put on kind of like us as individuals. We are only individuals when we can choose between product A or product B. And people don't have time, you see. I know like families who, you know, holidays are worst times for them, because you work, children are at school during Monday to Friday, some activities on the weekend, numbing down with series and stuff. So when people get presented with time, it's hard to deal with, because we are so trained into the Pavlov way of being. Hectic, just doing, just working. And that's something you must do. You must work. I never talk about being lazy, but you have to be smart about it too, because life passes by. And how come so many feel the same thing, and all the books which are sold about this are still being sold? Because there is no fix. You know, people can read something, get inspired by something, but then you fall back into the same pattern and you feel even more helpless. Just listen to this. Let's baptize myself. No, joking aside, I started to notice this when I passed my 30s, and you know, really started to see people dip down in stress and so on. So I'm grateful, because I still feel like juvenile in a sense as 25. You know, still feeling the sparks, still being willing, you know, happy. But I noticed that as life progresses, it kind of tears down people into a bit more passivity. But you gain stuff. You might own more stuff and so on. Stuff we really don't need. And people know it. But as I said, individualism today is only about choosing contracts, choosing products and all that. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I know that there is no one fix for everybody. And from looking at my own life, you know, you see how things reset, change. The first principle of nature is kind of resetting. The seasons, everything here will die out and come back in spring. And so it is within our own lives. But we do the same thing. So that's the problem. No matter like what job you have, how you live, where you live, the system is rigged to make you in constant fear, to be obedient and work by the same kind of routine and time, despite things changing. For example, when you have a family, when you have children, you really see the kind of resetting, and seasons change fast. You know, as they get bigger, develop and so on. And I think that makes people feel that life is kind of increasing in speed. Because when you're by yourself, things seems to kind of be calm, just like the calm water at the lake. But when you have, you know, life coming out and growing, things increase in speed. And another aspect of why I think people find that time goes faster is because you deal with more. You have all this information, and your own life, your partner's life, friend's life, everything is kind of like in your head. And there's lots of chapters compared to a child that has much less chapters and things to deal with in their head and relate to. So the more you have to relate to, time can actually feel as it's going by much faster. Now, does time goes faster? No, I don't think so. When you're on a trip or a road trip, or you're hiking or whatever, times is just something, you know, when you're out for some days, time gets its own tempo, to say. to put it like that. And I think that's basically the way we might have lived before. And you're more in the now, you're more adaptive to the environment, to the seasons. But in our lives, you know, things have to be the way they are. And that's why the system is totally rigged. That's why people give birth to life, feed that human life, and then you're just sent off into the grind again, and the war machine too. And if you're not in that situation, if you're spared from war, you might feel bad about where it's happening, but you think like it can never happen to me. And thus you feel like you've kind of like won that. But even that changes, you know? Like for example, Sweden. There's so much crime here. It's really hyperbolic increase over the last 10 years. So that goes back to the question, how do we thrive? You know, like for me, it's always been family oriented. To have and to work and to feel a sort of harmony and a way in which things are done, that you feel they are done in a way that's enjoyable. You know, it makes a difference if you're, like, let's say, making food fast and stressed, and you eat kind of while you still haven't wind down. If you do that like half the time, half a year, you know, that's 6 months of a year. You're actually kind of like stressing out, just getting some nutrition into your body, and all those small things. And especially with children, you know, to have the time to do something with them, at least sometimes during the week. Yep. But as we have seen, the freedoms and restrictions on everything are really tightening up. So it's also important to get educated in technology, in all these devices for children. I did a video like 2 months ago about biometric data collection in schools and all that corruption there, and how they just, you know, give away the material but they never educate about it, and how corrupt it is, how companies help politicians who later implement their helping softwares which turn out to be free data collecting programs for the companies. And I mean biometric. And in some countries, of course, in China, they already have schools where they are monitored, the children. Just like those camera feeds you see from China, they have that in schools. So you can get like a comment or a degree on your attention or something like that. But we, people who know about this, we really need to take a choice in this day and age. You know, if you're not going to do it now, or start doing it now, or take the first step now, when? Or who will do it for you? As I said, we're always presented with big ideas. Like, you need God to come down here and tell you, whisper in your ear, you know, something comforting for you to feel secure that you can pull through this. But there is no such thing. And we are always presented with people who are presented as doing like thousands of things for humanity and all that, which is all just fake. But like realistically, you know, if you have 5 really, really good friendships over a lifetime, you're doing good. if you have created something in your life, or done some positive change 5 times, 10 times in your life, that's really good. It sounds so futile and like nothing, 5 or 10 things, but that's actually like huge, because the system is rigged for you to work, send off your children to indoctrination camps where you don't have time to be with one another, and when you have it, people find it like more stressful than rewarding, and that clouds people's minds. And by the age, say 40, 50, things might feel too late. You don't know how long you will live. You might find yourself too old to like try something new or let go of something to gain something. But I think, and in my life, as long as you know your founding pulse, what drives you, and you stick with that in an upright, nice manner, by honor, you will kind of get that which you aspire to, that which makes you content. So, like, I'm 37. I have a family. I've been kind of like I've been with my wife for 12 years. I never had like a shortage of anything. I've taken risks, there's been ups and downs, but there's like still it's a good job, and I think one of the reasons is because someone asked me this recently, like and they said something like, you're so like energetic or vibrant, like what gives you that? And my short answer was like, I'm always at the place I want to be at, and that takes courage. And when you get used to being courageous, most often you will get rewarded. At least you will have the habits of doing that which makes you satisfied. And another thing is, like, I've never been envious. I never like if somebody succeeds with something, I'm happy for them, or it's somebody who I really don't have any relation to, so I don't care, because I know that it doesn't matter, like, as long as you have the basic needs and a tad bit more and you're happy, it's really a good position to be in. Because I've seen like pilots, being away from home, having a stressful kind of like grumpy mother with a nanny who's happy and taking care of the child. Like, it's easy to take things and present as some sort of resume, but everybody knows it's not about that. And with the times now and how things are changing and where things are heading, there is no better time than this year, next year, to actually really pull through with the ideas one has and ambitions. And also, if you want the short version, go and read like I don't know what it's called, like deathbed regrets or something. Like, there's like a list of top 5, top 10. Nobody said, I wish I had worked more and been less with my children or with my partner. Nobody says like, damn it, I wish I'd taken that job that gave me like something. Most people regret actually the simple things. You can take some time to go travel if that's your thing. Pick up a hobby. have some quality time, be open with the people who are close to you, and really feel that good vibe, because everything is made so scary about what's natural, you know, everything that's not part of the system, you know, and money is a weapon. You know, I talked to a friend recently, and he said, you know, money is a weapon. We know that. It is what it is, but it controls everything. And anything that has not to do with money, people are kind of afraid of. The older they get, generally. All the cliches you heard when you were 20, you kind of understand them more deeply when you age, when you gain more life experience. And the only thing that remains, the only thing that's there for us to do, no matter what we know or don't know, is to actually just go along with what we deeply, deeply, deeply feel like is the right thing to do. Because let's say the world turns out to be in the future like it was 2 years ago, or something similar. You know, that's a harder position to activate or begin with any of the ideas and ways of living that you wanted. And what I've noticed is that, as I did like a video way back this year, is like the closer you get to your goal, the harder it is. It's like exponential. You know, it goes like this, the hardship, the trials and errors. And that's what puts people off. Persistence. And many people can ascribe to that. Like, you have possessions, you have a family, you have a job, but you're still not there. You still like feel, oh, now I have this problems and that problems, and they always exist. But to reach that, one really has to be persistent and begin and realize that actually, and this is from my life, that the closer you get to something you have planned to do, it never turns out as planned, but you know, somewhere around the target area, the harder it is. And you know, like 1 year ago, you know, people couldn't travel. The world was really an insane asylum. It still is, of course, but much more than maybe this week, next week. So yeah, if you have friends who can help, you know, keep that friendship alive. If you have a relationship with somebody, you know, everything goes up and down. Always, even there, you can find back to the founding pulse of love, and you know, that thing which put you people in place together. And this goes for your interests, your passions, your hobby, your own body, your own mind, and all that. I think I've talked too long now. Just rambling on here, walking around the lake. Yeah, it's a privilege, you know. Mornings like these make such a good day afterwards. So I hope you have a good day, wherever you are, and so on. So thank you for watching, and all the best.